Hi students, this is our biology class, session 2, the chapter Pollination and Fertilization by your biology miss. So previously we have studied about what is pollination, three principal ways in pollination, autogamy, actinogamy, allogamy, and the two kinds of pollination, self and cross pollination, the advantages and disadvantages of both the things, and the nature favoring the self and cross pollination. So all these things we have studied in the previous session. We are going to see agents of cross pollination. There are two common agents. One is insect, another one is wind. But in some flowers the pollination can be carried out by the birds, animals and water also. Insect pollination. The pollination which is carried out by the insect is called entomophilous. Entomon means insect. Philous means affinity. So the pollination which is carried out by the insect is called entomophilous. Example is sweet pea. And the pollination which is carried out by the wind is called anemophilous. Anemo means wind and philous means affinity as usual. And the example is maize. The pollination which is carried out by the birds is called ornithophily. And the pollination which is carried out by the water is called hydrophilous. We very well know hydro means water, philous as usual affinity. So the pollination which is carried out by the water is called hydrophilous. Here I have mentioned one point. Gravity should be equal. Which gravity should be equal? The gravity of the pollen grain should be equal to that of the water, so that it can easily float in the water and it reach the stigma of the female flower and it can pollinate. Next, the pollination which is carried out by the animals is called zoophilous. Some flowers like Rafflesia, they are pollinated by the animal called elephant, and in such cases that pollination is called elephophily. And the another method is artificial pollination. Here the young pollen grains are collected and it is stored in a suitable temperature, and whenever it is needed it is emasculated in a desired variety and the pollination takes place, and thus it is called a emasculation. And these are some of the agents of pollination. Next we are going to get entered into the very important topic called fertilization. What is fertilization? The fusion of male and female gametes or the nuclei which is present in the male and female gametes. The fusion of male and female gamete which results in the formation of zygote is called fertilization. So in flowering plants, which is the male gamete and which is the female gamete? We very well know the pollen grain is the male gamete and the ovule inside the ovary is the female gamete. So with this too, the fertilization process is done. The next topic is the pollen grain, the structure of pollen grain. If you take the pollen grain is a double-walled layer. The outer layer is called exine and the inner layer is called intine. And the nucleus which is present in the pollen grain is already divided into two. They are tube nucleus and generative nucleus. So the pollen is transferred to the stigma at this stage. So when the nucleus is divided into tube nucleus and generative nucleus, at this stage it is transferred to the stigma. So the further changes in the pollen grain is going to take place only when it's going to reach the stigma. The structure of pollen grain, the exine, intine, tube nucleus, everything I have given in the picture. So you can go through the picture which is given in your book. The next is the structure of the ovule in the ovary. So ovule, it's a female gamete. They are also covered by two outer layers, that is two outer coverings called integument. And the integument is going to leave a small opening at one end, it's called micropyle, and these integuments are enclosed by a nucellus. This nucellus are nothing but it's a mass of food laden cells. Inside the nucellus embryo sac is present. The picture is very much clearly given for you. The micropyle, it is a small opening which is present at the one end, and double wall layer integument is marked over there, and the embryo sac which is present inside the nucellus, and the nucellus is marked. Okay, so this is what the structure of the ovule in the ovary. And the next is what is present inside the embryo sac and how the cells are present inside the embryo sac. Embryo sac contains 7 cells, totally 7 cells, and that 7 cells has been present in this form 3 plus 3 plus 1. Okay, so 3 plus 3 plus 1. The 3 cells at the micropylar end, 3 cells at the antipodal end, and 1 large central cell at the middle. Okay, so the 3 cells at micropylar end contains 1 egg cell and 2 synergids, and the 3 cells present at the opposite end to the micropylar end is called antipodals, and 1 large central cell is called a polar nuclei. So 1 egg cell, 2 synergids. 1 egg cell, it's a 1 egg cell which is present in the micropylar end, and 2 synergids. Synergies means it is a substance which is going to enhance the pollen tube to enter into the embryo sac. Okay, so it is a substance, or it is the thing which is going to enhance the pollen tube to get enter into the embryo sac. Antipodals, they are going to produce some nutritive substance for the nourishment of the embryo sac. So this is the work of the synergids and antipodals in the embryo sac. And the polar nuclei, which is going to combine with the generative nuclei, that is sperm nuclei, and it's going to produce the endosperm. So this is what the structure of the embryo sac and the presence of the cells in the embryo sac. 3 plus 3 plus 1, 3 at the micropylar end, the next 3 at the opposite to the micropylar end, and 1 large nuclei at the central portion. Antipodals, polar nuclei, synergids, egg cell. Next is germination of pollen grain. So the picture is given in your book also. So while you are going through this slide, you can go through your book. So you can able to see the pollen tube continuingly coming and reaching the egg cell through the synergid, that is micropylar end. From there it is going to release the sperm nuclei, and there the germination is going to take place. Let's see detailedly about it. Pollen grain, when it's going to fall on the stigma, it starts germinate. How it's going to germinate? So once a pollen grain is going to reach the stigma started to secrete some sugars which is going to stimulate the germination of the pollen grain. Next, the exine. We know very well the pollen grain, it contains 2 layers. The outer is called exine and the inner is called intine. So through a point in the exine, a pollen tube is grows. Okay, the pollen tube grows out of the exine, carrying the generative nucleus, that is 2 male nuclei. This generative nucleus is going to divide into 2 male nuclei. So exine, through which the pollen tube is going to grow, and it's going to carry the generative nucleus and the tube nucleus. In that, the generative nucleus is going to divide into 2 male nuclei. This male nuclei is also called as sperm nuclei. So all the 3 nuclei is going to share the common cytoplasm. Here the tissues are dissolved using the enzymes, and finally it's going to reach the ovary. So the pollen tube grows through the stigma and style. The pollen tube, so as I said, the pollen tube is going to extend from the exine part, which is going to carry the generative nucleus, and it's going to grow through the stigma and style by dissolving the tissue with the help of enzymes, and once it reaches the ovary. Next, so it's going to push through micropylar end. The pollen tube is going to push and it reaches the embryo sac. So through the micropylar end, the pollen tube, it reaches the embryo sac. Now the tube nucleus disintegrates. So the tube nucleus, which acts as a carrier for the transportation of that sperm nuclei, it's now disintegrates, and this is what the transfer of pollen grain from the stigma through the style and the entry of the pollen grain into the embryo sac. And the next is what happens now after the pollen tube is entered into the embryo sac. What's going to happen there? So here the pollen tube enters one of the synergids and releases its 2 sperm nuclei. So as I said before, when the pollen tube is going to divide the generative nucleus into 2 male nuclei, it's a sperm nuclei. So once the pollen tube going to enter into the embryo sac or through the synergids, it's going to release the 2 sperm nuclei. So one sperm fuses with the egg cell and it forms a zygote, and another sperm fuses with the polar nuclei which is present at the central region and it forms the endosperm. So at that time 2 fertilization process is going to take place, and thus this result in the double fertilization. So as a result, double fertilization occurs. So again I'll repeat the same. So what happens when the pollen tube is going to reach the synergids? So when the pollen tube is going to reach the synergids, it going to releases the 2 sperm nuclei, and one sperm nuclei fuses with the egg cell to form the zygote, and another sperm fuses with the polar nuclei and forms the endosperm. As a result, the double fertilization occurs. So this is what the germination of pollen grain. What happens after the germination, after the fertilization is going to get over? So here we very well know, after the fertilization the ovary changes to fruit and the ovary wall changes as a pericarp, the ovule changes to seed, the petals, stamen, style and stigma which is present are going to fall off. At last, when the fruit is ripened, the seed contained inside is released and it's going to grow into a new plant. And the remaining parts about the integument, placenta, egg cell, synergids, all the changes are going to occur. So that is clearly given in the book in page number 45. That is placenta, it's going to change the stalk of seed, outer integument, and in integument as a testa and tegmen as a seed coat, and secondary nucleus is going to change as endosperm. Egg cell and synergids are going to form the embryo, antipodal cells, or it's going to disorganized. Okay, so these are the changes that's going to happen once the fertilization process is going to get over. So this is about the process of fertilization and what are the changes that's going to occur in the floral parts of the flower once the fertilization is over. So I think you're all very much clear with this, children, and with this the pollination fertilization is getting over. Please go through your book after this session is over, and we'll meet with the next video with a new chapter. Take care, stay home, stay safe. Thank you very much.